COVID-19 has certainly created a lot of challenges in the world and in the United States. A lot of challenges as well for food and farming. So thank you so much for joining us today to check in with some of my farmer friends.
Hey, welcome everybody. I am really excited to have Brady Wolf with me here today, and I've known Brady for a really long time. Brady was one of my students when I was an agriculture teacher, and now I consider him to be one of my friends, and they help us a lot with our cattle life because we are still learning. So we really appreciate his entire family. They take pretty good care of us. And Brady is a very young person on the farm. So excited to hear his perspective today about COVID-19, how that's affecting their farm life. And then we get to learn about their farm, which is extraordinarily amazing. What they are doing, they're doing some new things. They're trying some new techniques out, and maybe they're old techniques actually, and just bringing them back. But Brady's going to tell us a little bit about their farm, and then we'll get into a deeper conversation. And at the end, we're going to talk about their new and exciting VRBO that they are starting on their ranch for people to actually come and stay there. So we're going to talk about that too, because it's really cool. I just actually saw it the other day and it is super neat. So welcome, Brady. Please introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your background and then tell us about your farm.
Okay, so I'm Brady Wolf. I am the youngest of three boys. Jim and Twyla are my parents. And so a little bit about my farm. When I was 16, we actually moved about 20 miles away and kind of started our own farm. I grew up on the farm my grandpa started, Wolf Limousine Cattle, and grew up there on a pretty big operation with uncles and cousins. And then when I was 16, we moved over here and just kind of became my brother, and my parents. And my other brother is a welder, so he didn't have any interest in the cattle side of things. And so it was a little scary to start out, but I'm sure glad we did. We just did it to kind of create more opportunity for our family, and saw that over here where we're at by Starbuck is definitely a lot more cow country. So we were excited to move over here. But so as you can see, maybe in the background is our farm. I'm actually standing right now in a soybean field. So like Natasha said, we do some things a little differently because most people would think a planted soybean field should be black, but ours is pretty green. So we're a no-till, 100% no-till farm. And then our goal is to keep a living root in the soil 100% of the year. So as soon as something's getting harvested, we're trying to plant the next thing. Whether that's after soybeans, we plant our next cash crop of winter wheat, or after corn, or actually while corn's growing, we'll plant cover crops so that they can come back in the spring like this did for soybeans, different things like that. So we find it ties very well. We don't have much crop ground, but it helps really tie our crop ground in with our cows, as we can utilize our crop ground both to raise cash crops and to raise feed for our animals. And then also we find that the no-till practices, it saves a lot in the soil, it saves on erosion. We're also finding that it can help save on fertilizer. Using synthetic fertilizers, it can cut down on that. And then it also cuts down on the inputs. I mean, we're a smaller farm, so that it helps when we don't have to own tillage tools and all we need is a planter. Our cow herd is actually a little different than most. Instead of being focused on supplying the meat industry, we actually supply genetics. And so we are raising bulls and heifers. In this barn behind us is where we grow out our bulls, and we will sell them once a year to other producers, other farmers, so that they can use them to breed their cows. And so it takes a lot more management than your typical rancher would. We've got about 350 cows for the 3 employees that we have here, and out in South Dakota you can find people that have 3 employees and run like 1,000 cows. So it takes a lot more detailed management, but we really enjoy that part, as we're all very detail oriented. So we have a lot of fun getting to know each individual cow, because each individual cow has kind of their own unique genetic profile that we need to really know and learn, so that we can have a good mating and produce some better genetics.
Awesome. Yeah. And I will attest to the fact that the quality of cattle from Clear Springs Cattle Company is really awesome. Uh, these farmers do a really good job at choosing the right matings of bulls to cows and getting really good offspring. So your family is quite skilled in that area. And what is it that you love so much about farming? Like why? Why do you love it every day, even though some days are hard? Why do you keep doing it?
Yeah, it definitely has its challenging days, especially working with family. Might not always see eye to eye, but I just love it. I mean, I manage the crop side of the farm, and I just really enjoy that because just working with the land, trying to make the land better, and trying to improve the land, and then same with livestock. I mean, working with livestock, you're working with a living animal every day, and just to take care of that and see that animal grow and prosper and watch it go off to somebody else's ranch and work for them is it's just very rewarding. It takes long hours and it takes some stressful days, but I wouldn't want it any other way. And I think a big thing for me too is to work for myself and to work for something that I hope that one day I could pass on to my future kids.
Awesome. Yeah, that's the dream of many in agriculture is to be able to continue the tradition, right?
Right.
Next, let's get into the current state of what's going on right now. So obviously, COVID-19 has created some challenges in agriculture. How are some of these things affecting you guys? What kind of conversations are you having right now around this new issue that we have going on here and how it's affecting you?
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't affected us directly financially right now because our bull sale was before this all broke out. And since we only kind of sell things once a year, but it's still affecting us. I mean, crop prices for the crops we do sell are way down. And also, we're trying to expand. I mean, as I just came home to the farm at the beginning of the year, we're trying to expand our farm so that it can support 3 families. And it's a little uncertain to be spending money and expanding the farm right now. We're this year we're going to be our first year of developing our own heifers, and that takes a lot more extra feed and it takes extra bunk room to feed them. And so right now we're trying to decide, well, how do we do that? How much money can we put towards that right now, because we don't know where this is going to head. We don't know how long it's going to take. We don't know if people will be even really willing to buy bulls next year. So it's just a lot of uncertainty, and it takes a lot of planning. So we're definitely trying to kind of cut back on our spending so that way hopefully we can try to ride this all out and see where it goes.
Yeah, the uncertainty of time definitely, I think, is really tough for everybody. Uh, Even on our small farm here, we talk about, oh, should we be doing that right now? And you have to have a lot of faith, right, in
Yeah.
what you're doing, and just hope it's the right decision because
Yeah.
it's very difficult. Yeah, for sure, because we don't know how long it's going to last. No one does, and we don't know what it's really going to do to the markets either. So,
Right. And
yeah,
it takes a lot of future planning too. I mean, right now we're breeding cows, and the cows we're breeding, those calves won't be sold until 2022, the bulls. Those heifers won't have calves until 2024.
and
I
the
mean,
heifers that you're talking about developing are that's almost a year from now that you'll actually would sell them, right? I mean, it's like they're if you're
uh,
taking heifers you have right now.
right. So if we took the heifers we have right now, it wouldn't be next February, but the next. So almost 2 years actually.
Oh, your calves that you just had, yeah,
Because
yeah,
a heifer is 2 years old when you sell it, and a bull is 1 year old.
yeah.
And
I was thinking you maybe had some from last year, but you've already done
so
that.
it takes, I mean, it takes a lot of future planning, and you just kind of got to do it in hopes that things will turn around. So it
Yeah,
definitely takes a lot of faith.
yeah, it does. Takes a lot of faith. I mean, farming in general does, but when you have that kind of a timeline, it's a lot of faith for sure. Let's talk about the VRBO because I'm really excited about this and I want people to know, and I want people to know how they can find out more information as well. So tell us what you're doing, and then where this information is located for families that are looking for something that they would like to come and do.
So we once we moved over here, we had a farm come up for sale that we kind of owned land all around it, and so it really made sense for us to purchase that piece of land, and on that piece of land was a house. And so in the past, we've used it for hired hands to live at or things like that. But right now, we decided, you know what, like it's between renters. Let's take it out of your standard month-to-month rent, and we turned it into VRBO or Airbnb. It's on both websites, and so you can go to one of those two websites and see it. And we just wanted to be able to give people a unique experience to come out, spend a weekend, spend a week on the ranch. I mean, we love our view, and we're in the hills, and we just love our view. So we wanted to share it with people, and then also be willing to give them a farm tour if they're interested. Or, I mean, we thought we're kind of in a vacation spot too, as we're right next to the Glacial Lake State Park is right in our backyard. Lake Minnewaska is a big lake in Minnesota, and that's 5 miles down the road in town. And then there's a lot of public land around here for hunting and snowmobiling, things like that. So we're like, let's give this a shot. We kind of have no clue how it's going to go. We're remodeling it right now. It's going to sleep like 20 people. So, I mean, I think one weekend we've got it booked for a family reunion. They get their family together. And so it's going to sleep a lot of people. Hopefully people can come get their whole family together and get their family together in a remote area. We don't always have to go to the big city for a vacation. There's plenty to see and do out in rural Minnesota.
Yeah, and honestly, we need to talk about two things. Number one, the Dairy Queen in Starbuck, Minnesota was voted the best ice cream by WCCO. Is that correct? Yep. And it is really good. I don't even understand why it's better than other Dairy Queen. It just is. It's very
an old-fashioned Dairy Queen. They still make their own dilly bars and Buster
you
bars.
stand at the window outside. Yeah. Grace and I just stopped there the other day on the way back from horse lessons. So it's like when we go by, it's like, well, we best stop for the best ice cream in Minnesota. And then also, I think it's really important that people understand, like, you get to see the ranch work, right? Like, if you stay there, you get to be a part of the farm a little bit, and you get to watch it and see it, and there'll be experiences for people to do that. And they can just talk to you guys about it, which that is really hard to find. And honestly, right now in the state we're in with COVID-19, what a perfect vacation that you can actually still take.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
You don't have to go mingle with hundreds and thousands of people. I mean, you can just hang out on the ranch.
I wish you all the best luck, and of course, I'll tag those links for Airbnb and VRBO in the post, so that those are out there on this page and on my personal one as well. But thank you so much for joining us today. Anything else you want people to know?
I don't think so. I just like to say I'm like you. I want to be an open book. I want to share the story of agriculture. I'm trying my best on my Instagram page of Regenerative Rancher. But yeah, I just love telling my story. We have a lot of unique things going on with no-till farming and cover crops. And one thing we didn't mention is we graze a lot of public lands, so fish and wildlife, things like that. So we've got a lot of unique things going on that that people like to ask us questions about, and I love telling them about. So
get on Instagram and Regenerative Rancher, and you will see what regenerative agriculture is through Brady's posts. It's hard to say, but it's the way that a lot of farms are really working to get towards giving more to the earth than taking from it, and it's a good thing. So
yeah, I mean, the typical buzzword is sustainability, but sustainability we're maintaining. With regenerative agriculture, we want to improve. We want to leave the land better than when we found it, and not just maintain the land. So
yes, absolutely. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Brady. I really love seeing you and seeing the farm, because like Brady said, it is beautiful there. Like you wouldn't even imagine that it could be there. It
doesn't seem like Minnesota,
Montana,
that's for sure.
Or it seems like you're in Colorado or Montana or something. It's just gorgeous. So, all right, you have a great day. Good luck. I'm glad the sun is shining today, and enjoy it.
Thanks, you too.
All right, bye.